It took a lot of years for us to start seeing 5K display options hitting the market for us Mac users. But now we're also seeing 6K display options come to market, and we no longer have to look to the $5,000 Pro Display XDR to get a 32-inch display with 218 pixels per inch. That's right, Asus, who brought us the affordable 27-inch 5K display last summer, is back with the ProArt PA32QCV, which extends what we Mac users want, a 32-inch 6K high DPI display. And to be honest, this is the first 6K 32-inch display that I have used, but I think it may have sold me on upgrading from my studio display. Now I'm going to cover all the aspects and my usage of this 32-inch display, but I want to start with the thing that matters the most, which is the display. This Asus display is actually 31.5 inches wide. It is 6,016 pixels by 3,384 at 218 pixels per inch. And it is great for multitasking. You get so much more space on this 6K display compared to 5K that you have room for everything. I can't actually show you my actual daily work on here because, well, that's not for you. But here's an example of just how many things you can get on the display at once. You can multitask like a beast. This is an IPS panel. It's not mini LED or OLED. It doesn't have individual dimming zones. It's a standard IPS display, but it's pretty good. Asus says that it matches up to 98% of the P3 wide color gamut. It gets up to 600 nits of peak brightness with a contrast ratio of 15,000 to 1. One of the first things I like to do with a new display is just visually check it. Check for light bleed, check for color uniformity issues right out of the box. To do this, I use a website and cycle through a bunch of different colors to look for anomalies or really bright or really dark spots on the display. Now, luckily, I'm not seeing any issues. I'm seeing good color and consistent brightness across the entire panel, which is not always the case. The next thing I do is check for light bleed by playing a black video and looking for light bleed at the edges. Now, there are 4 little spots that I did find on this display, which is not uncommon for an IPS display. Thankfully though, it is minimal bleed and it doesn't extend far into the display itself. To the naked eye, this display looks pretty darn good. Asus is using their Lux Pixel technology here for anti-reflectivity and anti-glare, and it does a really good job of preventing reflections compared to a glossy display. And actually, I think they've done a better job on the 6K version compared to the 5K. The 5K had an issue where the further out from the center of your vision, there would be a noticeable decrease in brightness. However, with the 6K version, I'm not seeing that, and it's even more impressive because it's a quite a bit wider display. Now, I like to actually compare what I think I'm seeing on the display with an actual tool to verify that. So I'm using the Spider Pro calibrator to actually check the color and the brightness of the display. I found that the performance of the display is actually slightly better than what Asus specs say. For instance, Asus says the P3 color is up to 98%, but I found it to be 100% with my calibrator. I also found the brightness to get up to 665 nits and the contrast at 1640 to 1. Overall, I found the display on the Asus 32-inch 6K display to be really good in basically every use case that I had for it. It's great for photo and video editing with its true colors. It's great for watching movies and anything you do really with a computer these days. Next, I want to talk about more features of this display along with the design, the ports, and what this display is not. But first, this is the Ugreen Nexode 300-watt power bank, and it's a super powerful lithium iron phosphate battery that will keep you powered for up to 10 days. That's right, with a 48,000 milliamp hour capacity, you can charge an iPhone 15 Pro up to 9.6 times, or a 15-inch MacBook Air M2 up to 2 times, making this the perfect companion for tons of power when you need it. The 300-watt power bank has 3 USB-C ports and 2 USB-A ports, that can power your laptop at up to 140 watts with power delivery 3.1, or it can provide up to 300 watts of total power output to charge everything at once. Oh, and the 300-watt power bank can also fast charge up to 140 watts in just 1.5 hours. Ugreen wanted this power bank to be thoughtful and portable in design. The large display gives you real-time status on the battery percentage and current usage. With the anti-slip base and carrying handle, you are ready to stay charged up when traveling, working through meetings all day, or just getting away for a bit. And in an emergency, the 300-watt power bank has a built-in LED to provide light or even a built-in SOS in case you need help. So if you want to check out the Ugreen Nexode 300-watt power bank, you can save 29% by using the links in the codes in the description below. And my thanks to Ugreen for sponsoring this video. Now, I do want to mention that as great as the performance of this display is, it's not just for advanced professional users. There's also features built in for regular everyday users. For example, as a Mac user, I like the look of the displays on the MacBook Pros and Airs. And Not all third-party displays actually have the same kind of color profile as the Macs. Asus has added the M model P3 mode, which is a P3 color gamut that is built specifically to match the look of Mac computers, so that when you're using them side by side and you move windows back and forth, the color is the exact same. Now, this is great for anybody who needs consistent colors across multiple displays, and it's not just for professionals. This is great for everyday users because you can move things back and forth and not worry about them looking differently depending on what display it's on. There's also the Light Sync feature, which uses sensors on the display to automatically change brightness and color temperature, kind of like Apple True Tone. Now, if you're a true professional, this display has you covered as well. There are all kinds of color modes built into this display, including Adobe RGB, P3, or Rec 709. All of them are calibrated at the factory to ensure that those colors are what you need for your professional workflows. Now, whether you're a professional or an everyday user, Asus also has the new Display Widget Center software. This software allows you to easily adjust the color profile using software on the Mac instead of the on-screen display. You get all the same profile options so you can switch between them easily, but you can also adjust every individual setting to fit the color or look that you are going for. By installing the Display Widget Center software, this now also gives you the ability to control the brightness of the display directly from the Mac keyboard. And if you're a power user, there's a built-in window manager that allows you to easily adjust your display and your layout to whatever you desire. All right, next let's talk about the design of the PA32QVC. This is going to look very similar to other Asus displays that you've seen before. It is an all plastic design, plastic on the front and plastic on the back with the ProArt logo. It's all black. It looks okay. It looks subtle. Whatever, it's fine. On the front side, there are modern slim bezels on 3 sides, which allows your content to really pop, especially with that big 32-inch size. On the bottom, there is the brushed look with the Asus logo in the middle. And then on the right side are the buttons and the nipple thing. Now, I have to say, when I reviewed the 5K version of this display, I really kind of poo-pooed the buttons on the front. And to be honest, I don't think they look good. I don't think aesthetically they're pleasing. But as I've used more and more displays over the last year, I've actually found those front buttons to be very convenient. It's a lot easier when you can see them right in front of you than it is to blindly give the monitor a reach around and finger around until you find the right button. Ideally though, I'd like to see Asus add all the features of the on-screen display to the Display Widget Center software. Then they could remove the buttons or hide them around the back like everyone else. The stand that comes with this display is steel wrapped in plastic, and it's multifunction, so it can adjust the height, the tilt, the pivot, and you can rotate it 90 degrees. The stand is fine, but just like with the 5K version, I find that the cable management hole is a little bit too low on the stand, which means no matter how high you have the display or how low you have the display, you're pretty much always going to see the cables running down. Also, like the 5K display, I found that this display does have a little bit of a wobble in regular use, like many displays, but there are other options out there that are more stable. Even the Asus PA32QCV is more stable than this, although yes, that is a premium metal build OLED display. When it comes to the display inputs on the back, there's HDMI 2.1, DisplayPort 1.4, and Thunderbolt 4. And of course, Thunderbolt 4 is great because it's a single cable going to my laptop, and it provides up to 96 watts of power, which is more than enough for almost everybody out there. And because this display has Thunderbolt, there's also a downstream Thunderbolt 4 port, which you can use for daisy chaining to another display, or you can use it to connect other Thunderbolt devices like an SSD. There's an upstream USB-C port to go to another device, which you can use with HDMI or DisplayPort, and then you have a built-in KVM in the display. This makes it really easy to switch back and forth between 2 different devices that you're using, and there's 2 USB-A and 1 USB-C port that will also go back and forth with the KVM. Okay, so there's a lot of things that this display is. It's a 32-inch 6K display. It's high resolution. It's got great color accuracy. It's good for professionals. It's good for everyday users. But what is this display not? Well, it's probably not for gamers. If you're looking for a high refresh display to play with a gaming PC or a console, then this display is probably not going to be the best for that. If you're okay with 60 Hz gaming for casual games or gaming with your Mac, because honestly, who's really gaming with their Mac, then it's going to be just fine. And for me, 60 Hz is just fine for everything I need to do with all of my work, my video editing, photo editing, everything I do on a computer is just fine at 60 Hz. And I'm somebody who's just more impressed with higher resolution than I am with frame rate. This display is also not a multimedia powerhouse. It's got speakers, but they suck. It's also not the Pro Display XDR. It doesn't have mini LED backlighting. It doesn't have individual dimming zones. It's built to be big and pixel dense, and it succeeds. So I'm sure everyone's asking, okay, what is the pricing of this Asus display? Well, it is $1,399, making it significantly cheaper than the Apple Pro Display XDR. My only question about that is, will the tariffs in the US have any effect on that? Because the 5K display that Asus has started at $750 or $749, and it's now $849 because of the tariffs. So hopefully the price stays at $1,399, which I think is a pretty good price. The next option for a 32-inch 6K display is the Dell Ultra Sharp, and that is $2,799. And then next up from that is the Pro Display XDR from Apple, which starts at $4,999 and doesn't even include a stand. And compared to 5K options, they'll range from $850 all the way up to $2,000 for the Studio display with height and tilt adjustable stand. So the $1,399 price for this doesn't seem unreasonable. You're getting a 32-inch 6K display, you get factory calibration for colors, you get a good anti-reflectivity, and there's features for professional and everyday users alike. But what do you guys think? Is the Asus 6K display what you have been waiting for? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you prefer a 27-inch display, check out my comparison of all the 27-inch 5K displays I've tested in the last year. It's a good one. Hit the thumbs up button if you liked it, hit subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next time.